Hey, Mr. Stan 913 here. We're at the American Prohibition Museum, and it's in Savannah, Georgia. We're still in Savannah, and we're taking a guided tour and cocktail experience. So our tour is going to have a tour guide, but this place you can do a self-guided tour. We paid for the tour guide so that we could get the drink experience. So we're going to make a mixed drink or something like that. So this is our first time here. We're checking it out. But this is the entrance of the place, and it's a guided tour. And you walk yourself, but we're taking the tour guide. We're gonna have a nice girl walk with us through the tour. So we're just waiting. Our tour is at 1:15, and as we said earlier, we are in the middle of a hurricane coming through Savannah, Georgia. So our tour was later in the day. They actually took us early, so that was nice of them, so that we can get everything in. So we're waiting for our tour guide, and we'll begin shortly. Why don't you join us? So we have our guided tour, and she's taking us onto the tour. Other people are on their own.
Before we move any further, I do want to cover two very important concepts to the prohibition argument. That's the idea that something can be wet, and the idea that something can be dry. Now, seeing as you guys booked a guided tour and cocktail experience, I'm going to go ahead and say you all are wet, all right? There's nothing wrong with that, I promise, because a wet, that's just someone who doesn't have an issue with alcohol. And those you two are a bit trepidatious.
These are actual event when they were breaking the whiskey and it was going down, and kids were picking up all the whiskey before it went down into the gutter. And this was in 1926. The Whiskey Gutter, September 10th, 1926. Colorized photo. Now walking in when Prohibition is getting ready to start. She's a really good guided tour. And we're on our own, so it's just me and the wife on this guided tour.
This is to bring about political change. And these protests, they would be very different compared to today's standards, and that's because they would be socially acceptable. That means women would go outside and stand right there at bars and saloons, and they would start singing hymns. They also have my favorite form of protest, which is a prayer protest. That's where you got children who want sugar, don't waste it on beer. Most often when adults see them, they would assume these are just kids. They don't know anything about temperance. But that's actually not the case. By 1902, every single state, excluding Arizona, had some form of temperance teaching added into their public school curriculum. Now, while quite a bit of these teachings, they were based on fact, you'll also have a bit of propaganda sneaking its way in there. One of the more interesting teachings that these little girls would often learn is that if you consume as little, the more interesting ones that I found would be that home rule yes, prohibition no, because we believe that one came from Canada, since it is talking about home rule. You guys also don't miss out, right over here, we have some temperance ribbons from New Zealand. Wow. So I do want to point out that quite a few countries, they are going to be talking about prohibition during this time. However, America is the only country in the entire world to have gone through prohibition to the extent you guys will see a little later on in the tour. She used to make a living for herself, but she'd also use some of that money to pay off her fines. That blue book down there, The Use and Read of the Life of Carrie A. Nation, that is her autobiography. The Hatchet is also a manual she would publish. We have one of her lecture tickets. Carrie would have lectures nationwide. She'd even travel as far as England telling them not to drink, but you guys can only imagine how well that went.
So she was telling us a story about these two people here, and they actually came to life.
Good sir, this terrible disease that you and others distilled has been ruining
This was really
lives
cool.
for
She was
many
going over
centuries.
this with us, and the pictures came to life.
Alcohol has done nothing but
Now states that it is illegal to buy, sell, make, and transport alcohol inside of or outside of the United States. But if you guys notice, there is one very important thing that's missing from that amendment, and that is that it's technically not illegal to consume alcohol.
I don't want to show you the whole tour, but this is really good. So I would highly recommend that you get the guided tour instead of taking the tour yourself.
So, might not
It's
want to drink it, though, because that is a
110-year-old
lead cap. I do still love pointing it out for you.
bottle of whiskey, still to this day, never opened.
And a leaded cap.
And a leaded cap. Wow.
You also noticed the Mount Vernon of the title. That did not come from George Washington's Mount Vernon, but that was actually dedicated to his memory. George Washington, during his final years, he turned out about 11,000 gallons of whiskey, making him one of the largest distillers in America at the time.
So now we're heading into the moonshine area. This is when they started doing moonshine because Prohibition.
Coca-Cola was made prior to federal
Non-alcoholic
prohibition, but they would still market it as the temperance drink.
beverages.
This is also after they removed the cocaine, because I do get that question.
After they removed
After
it.
they removed it, yes, ma'am. But
So they did have alcohol in it.
And the Coca-Cola?
No, like the Welch's. Did that
No,
have,
it was actually, it was supposed to be like a non-alcoholic
Oh, okay,
wine,
like
but
a replacement for
yeah,
it.
and it just did not do that.
Oh,
So the girl let me walk through here. I'm walking all the way around and I'm going back to this door where they let you back in. So I'm going to press this button and it's going to take me to the speakeasy. Watch this.
What do you want?
I want a drink.
Who sent you? Tell him Gus.
Gus sent me.
Sent you.
Gus sent me.
Yeah. All right. Come on out.
And then you go right into the speakeasy like this. Isn't that cool? So at the very end, we had a knock on the door. And this is a speakeasy where it was underground places to drink. So this is where they took us. And we're going to have a private drink and we're going to make a drink right now. So we're going to, they're going to show us how to make a drink here. This was a part of our tour and we're going to make a drink.
As well as the cobbler tins. Have you ever noticed that the little top, the cap on them is sometimes hard to like break the seal and take it off? Yeah. This, we have a nice little trick that we'll be able to break the seal with this later. It makes it a lot easier than those cobbler tins.
So we measured everything in. Now she's giving us the ice and we're going to do a shaking. So she's demoing it here.
Really nice and full.
This is Mayan. This is Dorothy. And we're getting ready to go here.
That's why they go down into the tin. When we're ready to pour it, we're going to, just like the julep strainer, use our
These knees, this is really good. She demoed it, how we shake it or drinking it. It tastes good. So that was a great tour and we had our drink. And actually in Savannah, you can walk the streets with your drink, but you just have to put it in a plastic cup. But we're walking the rest of the tour by ourselves. And then we're going to finish it up soon. So that was a great tour. The tour, I highly recommend taking the tour and having the mixed drink demonstration. So if this is your first time watching, welcome. Please don't forget to subscribe. If you'd like to receive future notifications, hit the bell. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Mr. Stan 913, Savannah, Georgia, Prohibition Tour. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.